Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Just want to say thank you for watching, and today I wanted to talk about divorce. Not so much about a specific marriage or marriages, but in relation to some new idea that came up from a particular member of the GOP. That would be Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, not the brightest bulb in the house, and she recently put out a tweet calling for a national divorce of the country. That the two groups be the United Red States and the United Blue States of America. And she went on Hannity and discussed it to one point, because it's not like she's going to go on CNN or MSNBC, because they would give her plenty of pushback. And Hannity, being the lying propagandist that he is, played right into it. Because you can always trust Fox News, right? Yeah, in previous posts, they, during the voter fraud, how they all lie through their teeth, but I don't want to get off topic. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to, see a separation of the two different red and blue states. I think she really needs to pick up a history book, specifically the Civil War, because that's been tried before and didn't work so well for the South. Okay? I don't know if she remembers that or not. So the way she put her intro is, it's not just what she's proposing, but how she worded it and everything, which just shows the common hypocrisy that we come to see within the GOP, at least the current one, is that she says people on GOP members, Republican voters, are tired of being, quote, bullied, abused, and disrespected by the left. Okay? Now, this is coming from a person who has made death threats against other members of the party, people on the left. This is the one who lashes out at people who don't disagree with her, and also helped to instigate January 6th and keep passing lies about voter fraud, which we know is untrue. Although she says she does not want to see a civil war. I could be wrong, but I think she does. Deep down, because that's, her idea is that if the red states can be on their own, then there shouldn't be any problems, right? Okay. Here's some of the issues with what she doesn't consider, and that is, most people know, I would imagine, that when a state is red, that doesn't mean it's primarily Republican voters, but that's not to say there aren't Democratic voters in there as well, that certain districts aren't blue, and vice versa. So if you looked at a map that showed more of just in the populated areas, the map would look vastly different. It wouldn't be so predominantly red, like some maps like to show, which she goes by, which is just a way to illustrate it, in an inaccurate way. So here's some of the issues, is that a lot of red states rely on federal funding and support, which they would lose if they were to succeed and become their own United Red States of America. But I guess in her point of view, that's okay, because that's socialism, right? They shouldn't rely on federal funding and stuff like that. And also, they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves as easily as the blue states can. And I'm not trying to say that, blue is better than red or something like that. It's just, it's not going to be such a split where they can provide for themselves. Here are some of the statistics, to just name a few, which you could find out doing a little Google research, is that red states have higher mortality rates, they have higher unemployment, they have lower household income, there's higher rates of poverty, and there's a lower GDP per capita in the red states compared to the blue. And her idea is, again, it's more just out of hate that she's saying all this, because she said things like, in the red states that would, be segregated, wouldn't allow, like, some of the woke cultures that they like to bring up, stuff like that woke teachers would be fired, or that if you lived in a blue state and you moved to a red state for whatever reason, that person wouldn't be able to vote for at least 5 years, because freedom, voter suppression, whatever. It's more like freedom and all the rights for me, but not for thee. Now, here's something else that she hasn't considered, is that Georgia, the state that she's from, that her district that re-elected her, is by all definition a blue state. So tell me, Marjorie, would that mean you would be barred from voting for 5 years because nobody wants your values in his blue state? You know, your anti-woke values, right? So this is totally a bad idea, and she's claiming to initiate this with no real solid plan, and that's assuming it goes smoothly, you know, because it wouldn't. Here's some of the things that she's concerned about that, you know, she would rather see in these red states alone, like, you know, no critical race theory, no drag shows, you know, everything to be Christian nationalism and only that religion, you know. A shrinking federal government. This comes from the same woman who is all in support of Roe v. Wade, where she wants a shrinking government control, but except when the government tells a woman what they can't do and can't do with their bodies. Would that include you, Marjorie, or if you had a high-risk pregnancy, you would not get an abortion? We already know the answer to that, so let's be clear. Yeah. And again, she's made the argument, like, when I put this tweet out, it got a lot of likes, a lot of clicks. The last time I checked it, sometime yesterday, it had a lot of clicks, about 15,000. And she doesn't want a civil war. But here's the thing. One, we don't legislate by Twitter or social media. We legislate with intelligence. It's something she is seriously lacking in. Let's say these 15,000 people wanted to have a civil war. How do you think that would turn out? Let's, for argument's sake, let's say it's 200,000. 200,000 of low IQ people, you know, poorly educated people who would want to take over the government or allow the succession to happen via war. Okay, Biden's got the might of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. How do you think that would last, you know? Because these 200,000, they wouldn't have tanks, planes, or heavy artillery, let alone drones. So, you know, I think deep down she wants a civil war, but realistically she knows that's a bad idea. But this is, again, this is also coming from the same person who claimed that if her and Steve Bannon were to lead January 6th, that they would have won. And in doing so, hung Mike Pence and maybe taking out certain members of the left that didn't go with their schemes. Okay. So, this, again, you know, you people on the right, or, you know, and especially the people in Georgia, in her district, I forget which district she's in, which is obviously red. And I hate putting this on you all every time. What the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking when you reelected her? You really thought she was going to come up with some new plans or new ideas to help you all? So far, she hasn't helped anyone except herself. And this is just another one of her many crazy ideas. This is coming from a woman who believes in QAnon, who thinks forest fires are started by Jewish space lasers, who is just, quite frankly, full of hate. Because that's what she pretty much wants as far as her tribalism goes. And believe me, she is tribal. She will never consider a Democrat because she wants a segregated, United Red States of America to be white and straight, period. And only her religion and her religion only. The infamous white Christian nationalism. Because she's so driven by her faith. She's not. She's not faith-based driven. In fact, like I said, her hatred is proof of that. She just wants to see areas where it's all white people and no gays, no LGBTQs, and certainly no immigrants. See how that would work out. So, and you know, just to give you an idea, in addition to asking what has she done for you lately, which is answers nothing really, what has the GOP, since they took over the House, really done, you know, for the people of America, or at least for their voters, you know, Republicans or conservatives? Here's some of the things that they've been trying to legislate. Defund the IRS. Gee, I wonder why. Because, you know, tax cuts for the wealthy just aren't enough when you got to do more, because they got to support their rich lobbyists and donors. Defund the FBI. Gee, why is that? I thought they were the party of law and order, but, oh, the FBI investigated Trump for breaking the law, so. But what about Biden? He has documents too. Oh, then that's okay. Then the FBI is good, but to go after our Trump, which is the person they would put in charge in the red states. Make no mistake about that. You know, that's I don't even have to ask that question. Oh, what else? They're concerned about Twitter and, of course, Hunter Biden's laptop. Assuming they found something incriminating on the laptop, which they haven't, and they made an arrest, which they didn't and probably and never will, how is that supposed to help the people in the red states with some of the issues that I've just went through? And the answer, it's not, because this GOP is just not interested in passing legislation to help the American people, or the people in red states for that matter. And she wants to segregate. They'll lose all that federal funding, that's for sure. And to put it in even more simpler terms, let's say you reduce that down. I mean, just to give you an example, not to get off topic, but Texas at one point had thoughts about, I don't know if it came from their governor, Greg Abbott himself, but they wanted to possibly segregate or secede from the U.S. And a lot of people were like, go for it, succeed, see if we care. If they did that, then they'd be separate on their own, and we know how good their power grid is, because at the first ice storm, their dear old Senator Ted Cruz fled to Cancun and left the people to struggle amongst themselves in some dangerously harsh weather conditions, and there were lives lost as a result of it. Since they don't get the U.S. or any of that federal funding, where are they going to get all their support? They can't self-sustain themselves. Who are they going to trade with? Because that would only leave one option: Mexico. Could you imagine Greg Abbott trying to do with Mexico? The other state I was going to name with similar ideas to Marjorie Taylor Greene, as scary as that sounds, would be Florida. Ron DeSantis. The same Ron DeSantis who, when Hurricane Sandy hit New York, voted or spoke out against giving them relief, federal funding to help them, because he's a prick, that's why. Oh, but when Hurricane Ian hit Florida, he definitely had his hand out. And Biden gave him the funds, which he should. You know, he definitely should. And I'm thinking that in concerns of the people that are in need, that were impacted, not Ron DeSantis himself. I could care less about him. So, Florida, they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves either on their own. You know, they would lose whatever federal funding they're getting, and who they're going to turn to again? Mexico? With global warming in about 20 or 30 years, they could see some serious flooding. Who's going to help them? So again, to say also nothing about the Constitution, a document that she swore to uphold but clearly doesn't care about, because she, again, wants to succeed or segregate the red and the blue. This is a terrible idea of all idea, and it brings me to my final point of who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. To the people of Georgia that voted to re-elect her, she is not a good person. She is a very hateful person. She's a liar. She is a hypocrite. She has contradicted herself numerous times and just made some of the most outrageous claims and hate talk. All for what? Because of some of the things that she doesn't like critical race theory and drag shows. Well, here's the thing. They don't teach critical race theory. And Marjorie, if you don't like the way the schools are that teach about racism just to educate people, no, it doesn't make all white people think they're racist. You can homeschool your children. And that's the same for anyone else who's so afraid of the school system. Or you could just move to a fascist state like Florida, which is banning books and everything, which is nothing more than designed to de-educate. Worried about drag shows? Well then, don't attend a drag show. Don't bring your kids to one of these things. Homeschool them. They're worried about gay marriage and all that. Well, how does that affect them in any way, for those who are really against gay marriage? You know, LGBTQ rights, they just want the same rights as everyone else does. Nothing more. Transgenders, well, she's worried about the kids and everything. Really? What do you see Marjorie Taylor do when there's a school shooting? Maybe say thoughts and prayers. Does she say anything to pass gun legislation to try and help prevent future school shootings from happening? No. Because she's all about guns and everything and stuff like that. She needs that blood money from the NRA. So, what about children at the border when they're being put in cages during the Trump administration? Did she say anything? Nope. So clearly she's only in it herself. And she's so about freedom and everything. What about freedom of religion? No, she wants to push her, white Christian nationalism, which is nothing more than a fancy name for being a racist, on everyone. No Jews, no Islamic, nothing like that. just her own religion. That is what she wants in her simple, twisted mind. Okay? She doesn't care about people. She's not there to help you all. So, if you're still listening to her and believing her, you may want to really seriously think twice. If you're still watching Fox, and only Fox, and getting a nice, unhealthy, I should say, dose of misinformation, then you really need to start doing your own research. Because there are some people on the left that are helping to pass laws, like Biden, that help all Americans. Not just blue states, but red states too. And I agree with that, If there's a state out there, even a red state, that needs some kind of help, they should get it. And other things to consider are that certain popular things that the left have pushed or tried to push is very popular within the country. A majority of Americans want expanded health care, so everyone has coverage that they need for either themselves and or their families. They want a higher living wage so that they can better sustain themselves. These are popular things. This isn't socialism. This is the simple truth. It's what people want. They want their politicians to pass bills that benefit them. Not the wealthy upper class, but all Americans. And that's something Marjorie Taylor Greene clearly does not want. Like I said, she is a liar. She is a racist. She is xenophobic. She is homophobic. She is not a person of faith, and she's not a person who cares about anyone but herself. Make no mistake about that. So, the next time the people of Georgia in her district, you get a chance to vote her out, I would seriously consider that, because, like I said, as long as she's in Congress with exercising a certain amount of power, she's not going to help you. Not ever. And if she does, I will be damn surprised. You think I'm wrong? Name one bill or legislation she's helped to pass. Because I can name several bills that Biden has passed that she has voted against. Bills that helped all Americans. The GOP in general, like I said, name something they've done recently to help all Americans. And the answer is nothing. I just went through the list of some of their recent things that they've been doing. And it was all just petty cultural issue things that don't amount to a hill of beans. So, there's not going to be two United States, because one final point I would make, you know who would love to see that? I mean, really love to see the United States become officially divided? I'll give you a hint. It's not an American, that's for sure. Vladimir Putin. Nothing would please him more right now to see, the Republicans succeed themselves and segregate into their own red states. Just see how damaging that would be in the long run. Putin would love nothing more, I guarantee it. So, yeah, nice one, Marjorie. Ain't gonna happen. And if it does, believe me, you'll see the disaster unfold before your eyes. And then your people that'll be infected, not that you even care. So, I really hope you understand. I really do. And thank you for watching.